Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again. Hopefully, if you're seeing this video, that means everything went kind of well. This is going to be like my first edited video. And it's going to be on one of the first helmets I ever did on the channel way back years ago when I used to stutter a lot when I spoke and I was doing everything from memory and all that other stuff. I wasn't super good at speaking in front of a camera yet, so which I appreciate all of you who have bared with me from those very early days, because that kind of sucked, not gonna lie. But it's all a learning experience, and it's still a very common thing. It's very hard to speak eloquently in front of a camera without having to have mess ups and stuff like that, so you could have a very coherent, pleasant to listen to and watch video. It takes a lot of time to practice that skill, and I hope those of you who have been around from the beginning have kind of learned that I have improved a great deal in that regard since my very early videos years and years ago. So to redo that, we're going to be doing a video on the Israeli Orlite helmet. So this is one with a cover on it. This is one of the covers that is issued with the Orlite helmet. This one was more designed for like police use, but the military do use them in some aspects. The normal cover that you would see with the Orlite helmet would be just kind of a scrim type of net, kind of like this is made out of, but you usually find them in tan and they have kind of a rubber thing that would hold it on, or they have this big kind of baggy loose cover that almost looks like a giant beret that is meant to kind of help break up the outline of a soldier, and it works quite well, and they use those for quite a while. So, but we're going to go into some of the helmets that Israel started with their forming, and then we will get into their first in-house, truly 100% in-house designed helmet, the Orlite here. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully this all works out. After Israel was formed, after World War II in the 50s, they were obviously quite heavily not liked at that point in time. Because basically the US and Britain and France and a bunch of these other countries were like, yep, we're just going to take this land from all of the Arab peoples that were living there, and all of the Muslim people that were living there, and all the various cultures that were living there, Christians too, and give it to the Israelites here so they could form their own country, because historically that's their homeland, which, to be honest, was kind of unfair. But I wasn't alive at that time. I'm not paid to make those decisions. I really don't have an opinion on that, to be honest. But it ended up working out okay for the Jewish people, but not so much so for everyone else. But they were attacked almost immediately, and so you see early on the Jews using a lot of very what I would call questionable equipment based on their history, but you see them very early on using a lot of American and a lot of German equipment, a lot of German World War II equipment going very early on, but their helmets tended to be mostly Mark II Brody helmets, as I have one right here, and we'll take a look at the liners of all of them later here when we compare it, but they had a lot of Mark II Brody helmets, and then they had a lot of American M1 helmets. This is actually a kind of updated helmet, so don't pay no attention to the cover, I just didn't want to take it off, but it has the World War II style liner in it, and that's kind of what we care about, because the M1s are all pretty much the same shape, and the Jews would go on to make their own helmet here, so that based off of the M1, you would see a lot of the stuff transferred over into the Orlite helmet. So first off, they would have had mostly these. They would have had these for a long time, a lot of American M1s and a lot of Mark II Brody helmets, and a lot of aid from a lot of nations, most of their firearms being German and American, and they fought off quite a few different invasions and attacks through wars throughout the years, up until basically the late 70s, and that's kind of when a lot of the really heavy fighting stopped for the most part, and that's the mid 70s is when they came out with their first truly in-house helmet design, that being the Orlite. But there's one helmet in between these two, in the Orlite that we need to cover here. Right, so this helmet here would be a pretty good representation of an Israeli M1. It is a triple bale M1 helmet, and that's really the only difference from a normal M1 helmet is the chin strap, the fact that it has 3 bales in the back, but other countries also experimented with that one, which is why this has a different cover on it, because this is a Canadian trials one. You can tell by the kind of different chin strap and everything else. It's not quite exactly what the Israelites would have been using, but it's okay. It's a good representation. It's basically just an M1 helmet with a slightly different chin strap is all it is. It's they based it mostly off of like the Vietnam era liners, where they didn't have the little like World War II leather or cotton strap that would go over the bill to hold the liner in the helmet. Theirs were more just held in with tension, and they would often be worn with like a scrim net and a piece of rubber to hold the scrim net over the shell. That's normally what camouflage you would see them with in most pictures, or oftentimes you see them just kind of plain. They were, like most M1 helmets, not super well liked, to be honest, but it's better than nothing, which is where now we will move into the history of the Orlite helmet itself and then bring it through into today, because it's actually a very, very innovative helmet design. Now we'll compare the liners of the helmets the Israelites were using, the Israelis. And so this here is the Mark II Brody helmet. As you can see, it has this kind of weird rubberized style of liner here. It wasn't very comfortable. It didn't work super well in the heat, especially of the Middle East. It wasn't well liked. It didn't offer a lot of protection, but you know, it's better than absolutely nothing. And they would tend to favor the M1 design over this. Have the M1 style helmet liner with its overlapping cotton straps. It's a one-size-fits-all, unlike the British design, where you had to swap out the liners and everything. The Israelis liked these better. They offered more coverage. If the liner broke, you didn't really have to junk the whole helmet. It was a lot easier to fix and repair. And they only had to make one size helmet shell. They used American M1 helmet shells all the way up until the end, though, and they would often modify a lot of them into the later pattern. But this is what the liner would look like, and it would be fully adjustable for height and circumference of the soldier's head, which was very easy on the Israeli heavily taxed. You see, it's an M1 design. Now, don't mind this like liner in it, the foam impact pads for like paratroopers. A lot of times they wouldn't have had those. In some instances they would, though, parachutists later on. But they have the triple bale chin strap here, as you can see, that greatly improved the stability. One of the problems of the M1 is when it only had the double bale chin strap, it would tend to rock forward or sideways quite easily, because it's a very large bulbous helmet and had a good amount of issues from that as far as stability would go, especially in combat. So they kept the M1 style liner. They basically didn't change it at all. The only thing they really changed was the steel helmet itself, by moving the side bales further forward a little bit and then adding one here in the rear to improve that stability, to give it 3 points of stability rather than 2. So, and you'll see this liner, how it's very similar, and it wouldn't have basically changed at all for the soldier who went from one of these to the next to the M76. Here we have the liner of the M76 Orlite helmet. This one, as you can see, it has a new type of chin strap. Same principle though, but now it's got nice leather pads to reinforce it. A nice leather chin cup. This is a very comfortable chin cup to wear. It's now nylon rather than being cotton on the inside. So, and it has the same sweatband. The sweatbands are actually interchangeable. The suspension, unlike with the US ones where it's removable, they are actually hard riveted in place. This would have made its debut, and it was well liked by Israeli soldiers. It serves until this day. Actually, a lot of other militaries adopted it, such as Ireland and South Africa. They were huge adopters of it, and the Canadians tested it, which is where this one happens to come from. And this one is one of the weird ballistic nylon ones that you would see in 1985. They would come out with some export models made out of ballistic nylon and other resin, but the earliest ones would have been made in 1976 and made out of fiberglass and cellulose resin. So, and they all would be mostly in this kind of dark olive green color. So, and now we'll move on to kind of the first operational use of the Orlite helmet, some of the models you can encounter, and all of that other good stuff. So the first operational use of the Orlite helmet, a lot of people like to think that it was the 6 Days War in 1976, but that's not true. The very first time we really see this used is on the Entebbe raid, which was kind of a plane hijacking. In July of 1976 is where we see the first operational use of these, and of course it would be used in every conflict since then. This is considered a Gen 1 ballistic helmet, which means that this helmet was like the first one really designed to deform and catch and trap shrapnel and debris rather than deflect it. So that means is that this offered a huge leap forward in ballistic protection compared to an old steel helmet design. And coming out in 1976, it was miles ahead of the other two Gen 1 composite helmets, that being the American Pazgat, which made its debut in 1983, and the British Mark 6 helmet, which would come out in the mid-80s, so in 86. So this is the basically first ballistic helmet. It's made out of fiberglass. You can find later ones, so the Orlite 201 or the Model 76 Orlite, they hardly ever changed in shape. Later you would see removable liners, the rivets would be replaced with screws and stuff like that. You see some different kind of chin strap materials and stuff being made other than that, but they're all pretty much the same except for their shell composition. You would see very early on, like I said, they would be made out of fiberglass and cellulose resin. Later you could see models made out of ballistic nylon. They would still be making fiberglass ones even after the ballistic nylon ones were made. And then in the very early 90s is when you see the first true 3A Kevlar one come out. And that's still currently in use with the Israeli military today, as well as with many other militaries all over the world. So it was a very good helmet design, loosely based off of the M1 as far as its suspension and stuff goes. And I'll show you here what it looks like on somebody and how you would operate the chin strap buckle and everything like that. Alright, so this is what it would look like. Front profile, side profile, and rear profile. So it's all in all a fairly good helmet design. It's comfortable, it's stable, it doesn't bite into your neck when you go prone, so it's not going to rock forward on you. It's a very comfortable, stable helmet. They're quite lightweight. This is one of the ballistic nylon ones. Obviously the 3A Kevlar ones are thicker and they get much heavier because of that. But other than that, this was a widely regarded by everyone that used it. The South Africans, the Irish, even the Canadians when they tested it. It was a widely regarded helmet for its properties as far as being relatively close to the head, having a good deformation pattern, either it be from blunt trauma or an actual ballistic impact. It worked quite well, and to the Israelis' credit, they made a very good design, and it's one of the few designs that has remained almost basically unchanged as far as shape and even composition. There's still a lot of the fiberglass ones out there and everything like that, and even to this day. So and as far as I know, they're still making actually the fiberglass ones for police use and stuff like that because they're lighter. And they really don't need the full-on ballistic 3A rating that the military needs. So they've basically been making these unchanged now for 50 plus years. And that's a hugely great design that they got right off the bat. So hopefully, like I said, if you're watching this, the editing all went well. Hopefully you like it. I'm hopefully going to be getting a better tripod and stuff here, which is... Thank you all to my Patreon subscribers and stuff for that, because I'm getting hopefully a ring light, a better camera, and a tripod here with the last couple months of Patreon support I've been getting, as well as my YouTube ad revenue. And the super chat money that I get for doing all the live streams with Mike B. All of that stuff is hopefully going towards improving this camera and everything like that to make these videos even better, because there's still some angles and some lighting and some other stuff I really don't like about this video, but there's really nothing I can do about it right now if I want to keep making content. And the only way for me to keep making money is to keep making content to try to get more Patreon subscribers, or to get them to increase their money levels, or to just get more YouTube revenue. So if you are looking to support the channel in any way you can, I'll put links to my Patreon here in the description, or if you can't support me that way, just watch the videos, like the videos. That helps the algorithms a lot. If indeed you did like something and you did learn something out of these, I would greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and it allows me to keep improving these videos and everything. I have a lot of big stuff in the works, and unfortunately I just need some new equipment to get a lot of this new stuff done. So hopefully the faster I can get some money, the faster I can do that stuff. So but big huge stuff coming in the works as far as the SMLE goes, as far as doing some more equipment videos go and stuff like that. I just need to get a few things here and there. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked and subscribed this video. And please share the video. Please, let your friends know if they're interested in stuff like this. I do take suggestions for other videos and comments. I'm going to be redoing a lot of my older stuff to hopefully make a higher quality video such as this, once again, if you're seeing it. And I will see all of you guys in the next video.